take a little time and focus on the topic of self-love. Now, we've all heard and know to some extent that self-love is very important. It's what brings us ultimate happiness. It's what keeps us at peace with ourselves and helps us through all situations, no matter what is going on or where we may be or who we are with or if we're alone. Though above and beyond the understanding that we have about self-love and experience in life, love is the universal language. Love contains the information of the universes. So beyond the material world, when you tap into your authentic love, you activate the intelligence of your being. Your soul acknowledges and registers that you are ready to receive more intelligence and information about the entire universe. And all of the history, everything, resides within love. It is not just some spiritual, philosophical, romantic, hormonal feeling and experience. Love is like a superhighway of information. It is how we are all connected. And through love and the highly technical information that love brings, we can thoroughly and in-depth communicate with all that is. So this is another reason why self-love is extremely important, because it opens you up to a student of the university of the universe. So in regard to implants, as we spoke about last week, I want to point out a couple of the major implants that we have that hinder our self-love. And I'd like to point these out so that we all begin to understand that certain things that we think are our characteristics or our thoughts or our patterns are actually imposed upon us. And once you begin to differentiate, you will have the ability, if you would like, to separate these things from yourself and what is actually not a part of your essence. So the thing I want to talk about today is negative thought patterns. As we had an explanation in the implant conversation, I said, or excuse me, no, this was the channeling that Archangel Michael gave, I think. Anyhow, what was said was that when you watch movies or you listen to music, and then later in the day the scene plays out in your head or you hear the song in your mind, you might assume that these are your thoughts, but they're not, because you did not instigate them. You did not consciously stop and say, oh, I want to think about this line in the song or this scene in the movie. It imposed into your brain, you received it, you may have accepted it and assumed it to be yours because maybe you don't understand that the mind can receive thoughts from outside of you and put on a facade of your own thoughts. Though if you are not consciously activating a thought, these are most likely not your thoughts. Now they may be soul fragments, they may be parts of you that don't love thyself that are bringing up these thoughts. The thoughts that I'm speaking about right now are self-judgments, self-criticisms, doubt in your being. So let's say I want to go on a blind date. I get all ready and I get ready to walk out the door and I get a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I say, oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't a good idea. What if this is not a nice person? What if I'm not pretty enough for this person? What if it's so awkward and we have nothing to talk about? And I get all upset about it and I cancel the date. Well, this self-doubt could have been a fragment of my personality that exists and resides in shadow, or it could have been an implant from somewhere outside of me that keeps me out of my power, out of my enjoyment, out of experiencing new things in life and connecting. Whatever it may be, this is not your authentic truth. So it is not necessarily important to understand exactly where this thought came from, whether it be a shadow aspect of you invoking self-doubt, self-loathing, or whether it be an implant imposed onto you to keep you out of your power. Either way, the important key here is to understand that it is not your authentic self. It is not your truth, because your authentic self accepts and knows how amazing, beautiful, powerful, successful, courageous you truly are. Your authentic self understands that you and I are the same, that you are the same as Creator. You are a walking miracle, you are beautiful, and you deserve all of the goodness in the world. Therefore, you would allow yourself to have this, attract it, and help others have the same. Anything that is less than this is not your authentic truth. So when you have thoughts or feelings that are not authentic truth, stop to say, wait a minute. First of all, are you at a place where you're ready to accept that you deserve these wonderful things, that you deserve to feel good about yourself, to accept yourself, to think wonderful things of self? And if you are not, then maybe start to understand why. And begin to look at the part of you that doesn't believe you deserve these things as another aspect, as another friend. Begin to separate yourself from this part of you, communicate with them. Because for most of us, when our friends come to us and they're upset and they're hanging their head low and they're wanting comfort, we give it to them. Because we see their beauty, we see their grace, we see their power, and we are happy and available to show them, to remind them of why we love them in the first place. And this is usually extremely helpful because they don't have the ability in that moment to step outside of their pain bubble and accept their authentic self. But they know that they deserve it, hence they come to you and ask for help. You gave them help. You helped them tap back into their authentic self. So look at this aspect of you, the part of you that doesn't believe in you or doesn't think you're pretty enough or skinny enough or fit enough or beautiful enough or smart enough or whatever it is, and say, hey you, what's going on? Why do you feel this way? And begin a dialogue. And you are holding the understanding that you do have authentic self. So obviously there's something going on here that can be resolved and cleared, and you can come back to your center. Because if you look at this aspect of shadow self, of upset, of judgment, whatever it might be, as you lose your power and you won't have the ability, at least as strongly, to move out of it. But you must remember, we are a bajillion million pieces of our personality. And each of these little pieces that maybe has an issue, maybe doesn't believe in their self-love, must be helped, acknowledged, and accepted so that this piece can reintegrate into authentic self. So it is our job to start picking out the pieces that have these random thoughts, that have these doubts, and understanding what they're going through in their process so that we can resolve it and bring them back in alignment with truth. And oftentimes, just like with a friend, you just acknowledging their pain dissolves it. Sometimes we just need presence. This is why present moment is so important, because when you are just available to be there with somebody, you may not say a word, but just you being present and sitting in their experience with them is extremely healing. So offer this to yourself and find the part of you, even if you have to backtrack in memory to a time where you felt and knew you were empowered. Tap into that piece of your authentic truth and step forward through that truth to comfort your friend, which is the part of you that doesn't accept you. Now, understanding that pulling out implants can be tedious and repetitive. So you might have 20 to 40 random disheartening thoughts about self within 5 minutes, but start to catch them. Say, oh, that's really inefficient. I don't need to think that way. Why am I? And squash them. Stop them in their tracks, because we have to stop the pattern of repetitive self-loathing. It's very important that you begin to understand that you deserve wonderful things. So why would you not give it to yourself? Become curious and look at this, because it does not make sense to bash yourself. It does not make sense to look in the mirror and say my thighs are too big. It doesn't feel good, does it? So why do you do it? Get very logical in this process. And even though it is very difficult in some terms, for certain soul aspects, certain part of you to say, there's no way I could ever believe that I look beautiful, or that I am smart, or that I am funny and people are attracted to me. Even though that little tiny piece of you doesn't believe it, there's a part of you that does, and that knows better, and knows, of course, people want to be around you. People enjoy you. You are a wonderful, loving person. And tap into that part that knows better, and bring it forth. Make it more and more alive in you. Because regardless of your emotional process and how much power and momentum you have built on your platform that you stand upon, that has solidified how much you do not love yourself, you know logically that it is inefficient to lack self-love. You know that it feels better, it's more enjoyable to care about yourself. So begin to use, even if that's all you have, is that knowing that it makes more sense to be happy. Use that as a catalyst to begin to explore and communicate with the parts of you that do not agree. And begin to wake up to these thoughts. It might take you a few minutes, but once you register, oh, I just had a negative thought. Stop and register it. And if you can, say out loud, cancel, cancel, delete, delete. Wipe that thought out of your mind and take the power back for your authentic truth. So that's a very short little snippet of what I wanted to talk about on the very vast topic of self-love. Though I think it's very important for all of us to start to begin to look at our inefficient processes and register that we do many things that don't make sense. And when you become savvy and see, oh, wait a minute, I think about things all day that do not feed me or help me, you may choose to reverse your thought process. Have a beautiful day, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.